Hello and welcome back to the Schooner Pod. We are here today to recap Oklahoma's 17-6 victory over the Missouri Tigers. I'm your host, Bobby Howard. With me, we got Jameson Maxwell. And Jameson, winning looks a little different than it used to in years past. When we started this podcast, 2018, the high-flying Lincoln Riley era was a little bit different than this. But winning, it's always pretty, if you ask me.
I think the Lincoln Riley era, there's so much margin for error too. Not in this case.
Right. Yeah, it's different. It's a different setup, different situation. But the Sooners are 9-2, one game away from essentially locking up a college football playoff appearance. In my opinion, probably, hopefully sealing a playoff home game. But pretty unbelievable stuff that we're talking about this here in late November. One more week to go. What are your thoughts on this game? What's your initial reaction to it all?
I just love how you can doom and think that Missouri really controlled the narrative for the beginning part of that game, and we looked dead in the water, and then you immediately blink, and one big play to Satania changes the motto for the rest of the game. This defense is so damn good that all we need is our offense just to do a little bit. And obviously, we want our offense to do a lot more. But whenever, like I said earlier, it's like the margin for error is so much different than back in the day, is because all it takes is a couple big plays on offense or one big drive, and this defense can do the rest for you. And we always have said, I don't want to rely on the defense win you games because, it'll put a lot on their shoulders in the current day and age of college football, but they've proven it, Bobby. They've proven that they continue to do that, and they've done that on 3 big games in a row.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, this is one of the most impressive defenses I've ever seen at Oklahoma. I think it's the best defense in the country, and what we saw was nothing short of remarkable. I mean, they completely shut down Missouri offensively. You had a really kind of rocky start, a little bit. The first drive was not perfect by any means, but after that drive, Ahmad Hardy, who's one of the best running backs in the country, if probably the best without a doubt, I would say, got completely shut down. Only like 50 yards, I believe, total, which is unreal. That is an unbelievably good performance. And the defense, even though they did get 2 turnovers, showed that they could control a game and really shut a team down without needing to turn the other team over to, win the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Ahmad Hardy, the way that he performed against Oklahoma, I don't care if you say, he got hurt and then he was a little bit hobbled after that first drive where he was getting his. That is a guy who just put 300 yards up, and Oklahoma just completely gobbled him up. This is a team in Missouri that, no matter what you say, is an extremely respectable team on defense, and then has got a powerful offensive game with their run. And here we are holding them to 6 points. 6. With a offense on the other side of the ball that was not helping them at all. You know how hard it is to, whenever you OU's offense that they put out and the kind of the drives they were putting out at the beginning of the game, and still a team on the other side of the football only had 6 points. That is just even compounding more of how special this team is.
Yeah, I mean, it's astonishing. Keeping them out of the end zone, all that, just it's a special unit, special team without a doubt. I don't even know where to start on just talking about the defense.
Every single defensive player, you got to give it up to. It's just there's sometimes you'll see a breakdown in tackling, or that they'll let something by them, but that's just life. To err is human. And for the most part, everything is short up and it's confusing, and it's you're getting a couple yards and getting them Missouri in awkward 3rd down positions. Is it 3rd and long or is it 3rd and short? I feel good every single time that defense comes up to the ball. I think you got to really give a lot to guys like Owen Heineke. I think that he was flying into the backfield, creating a lot of havoc. That guy, ever since he's taken more on his shoulders on this team, has really changed what this defense can do. He does have a lot of hiccups, which I do notice, but at the same time, with how good this defensive line is, to have a guy, linebacker with his hair on fire that could absolutely blow up a play at any moment. Like, he's been such an MVP that we really need to give more flowers to.
Yeah, I think you got. I know he can overcommit sometimes, and be a little too aggressive at times. I want the aggression. If that's the trade off, if he whiffs on a tackle sometimes, I don't care. Give me the aggression every single time. I like what you got from him. He is just he's a game changer. He's excellent. Incredibly happy for him.
Yeah, I know another guy I want to give like even more flowers to is Jacoby Johnson. That interception was stellar. The way he turned right to the ball, caught it, and the one DPI that he got, which was absolute baloney, which the refs could not understand what a freaking pass interference was that whole game. Like, it was honestly bad. Good for him. That's a guy that's like, he's obviously been through the ringer, a guy that got put on offense last year, and the coaches really have disrespected him in his game and his development. And we always knew he had something in him. And having him as like a CB4 that you can put in these situations has been beautiful. Like, he can make big plays like that. Whenever you have that good of an athlete, he's eventually going to make a big play like this.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, he was excellent. And I think it just shows how deep this team is across the board, that you can have a guy who hasn't seen a lot of burn perform like that. I mean, it's incredible. And, I think the depth will be tested a little bit more, next week. With Reggie Powers out, presumably for the first half, pending.
I don't know if that's going to get reversed. He did launch, but I mean, he launched with his hands out, but like, still.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough to tell in stadium because the only angles didn't look bad, but and obviously the OU fans got a little roasted by the announcers apparently, but. From what I could see in stadium, it really didn't look awful, but apparently is pretty straightforward targeting.
Yeah, because he jumped up because obviously it was a tipped ball. He jumped up to create to push over the defender because you can do anything whenever it's tipped. He had to exert enough force for him to knock over this wide receiver, and so unfortunately he just led with his head and just was not malicious in the slightest, but was the definition of what a targeting is. I don't see any kind of scenario where that he's playing. But I mean, you talk about depth in this team. Like, yes, is it scary going against LSU whenever you don't have a Reggie Powers? And then RSJ did go down in this game. I'll be curious to see what RSJ's health is throughout this week and what he looks like. But then you're going to put a lot on guys like, Michael Boganowski, who had a really good game this game too, had one of those stereotypical come right down and hit a guy right in the waistline and stop the momentum of a ball carrier. Like, that's what he does. And I think we've already seen from this season that most people, if you're down to safeties, you'd be in a big, bad, deep water. But like, even if you put Omarion Robinson in there, I would be kind of excited with him too. Like, as a young guy, he's looked pretty good. So like him, Jaden Hardy, I'm fine with those guys getting more run as well. And it's just one half.
And I think too, yeah. And I mean, it's one of those things that, at this point, you can put anyone in there and they'll find a way to make it work. I'm astonished with how good the depth has been across the board. I struggle to find a single guy who I'm like, oh, damn it, this guy messed up again, on defense. You know what I mean? Every team I feel like I've ever seen with OU, there's always somebody who could get picked on or, isn't quite up to snuff. I don't think this defense really has anyone, even like reserve wise, that you're just like, oh man, not again.
The offenses wanted it to be Cortland Guillory this year. They really did. And a lot of like the game planning of how they kept throwing to him. And I think that he's proven that, no, I'm not that dude. You can try to keep doing that, but I'm not that dude. Yeah, he's going to get some defensive pass interference. He's still working out some of the footwork and the logistics of being an outside cornerback in college football. But like, you're right, Bobby. I think that often our offenses are struggling to find someone to pick on. And whenever it gets down to serious football, the scouting departments a lot of the times win you these games at the end of the season. And you're probably looking at this defense. And you're like, what the heck am I going to do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I feel like it puts you in impossible positions. And even though you can put up a lot of yards, I feel like the way the game flow works is you can pick up some big chunk plays from time to time, but you're rarely going to get an explosive. OU does a really good job of preventing the explosives. And once you get down to the red zone, I mean, they just choke you out. Like it's it is just shocking how good they are in shorter yardage situations. It's just lights out. Like you just aren't gonna score on them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, their teams are going to have to win in the intermediate passing game versus us. That is not how Missouri is wanting to win their games. So whenever you see, you put out a Bo Pribula right off the bat and say, I'd say like for the most part, from what I expected out of him, somewhat decent, but he was not runner. He was not a runner in this game. He had maybe one or two times where he rolled out and ran. And I said that last week. If you think Bo Pribula is going to be the same Bo Pribula from the early part of the season, that's just not the case. His ankle is not going to be as stable as you think it is. And secondly, it's going to take a lot to kind of get back into that groove that he was as an aggressive runner he was. And I think, and you have to go against Oklahoma's defense as your first game back after dislocating your ankle. I don't think that's really going to be a really good game for him. And I think that we made him very uncomfortable. And especially whenever you notice their identity is getting away whenever they cannot run the ball at all with Hardy and Jamal Roberts, like their 1-2 punch that they like brag about all the time. Like he was like nothing. Like Ahmad Hardy had like plenty of plays where he did decent, but some plays he didn't. Jamal Roberts was a nothing. As soon as he was into the game, like it was barbecue chicken for this defense.
Yeah, 10 carries, 14 yards. That's woof. And I feel like that's the game really. It was a question of, strength on strength, Missouri's run defense or running ability versus OU's run defense. And OU's run defense won without a doubt. It kind of reminded me in a way of, do you remember that one game, that one year Leonard Fournette was just killing it for LSU? And it was like high-ranked LSU versus high-ranked Alabama. And it's like, oh, well, what's Leonard Fournette going to do against Alabama's defense? And he just got completely snuffed.
Yeah, I was about to say, this was a game where Leonard Fournette didn't do anything in that one.
Right. It felt like, I feel like in these situations, when you have really, really elite defenses versus a really, really elite running back, typically the elite defense wins out. Not always, but I feel like if you have to pick one or the other, the immovable object typically wins.
Yeah, Ahmad Hardy is one of the best running backs in the country, but there's a reason that people don't talk about him like Ashton Genty. He's really damn good, but he's not the next generational running back. So still give him a lot of props, but at the same time, going against this Oklahoma defense, like we've proven that I don't think there's anyone in the same conversation of us as defenses. Like right now, Bobby, at the beginning of the season, we were already having this conversation of who's the best defense in the country. And we're like, I think it's Oklahoma. Who would be the other people? Miami was a conversation. I don't think Miami's in that conversation anymore. I don't know who you would name, really, of who's the best defense in the country other than Oklahoma. I don't even have one off the top of my head that's shown me something this year that they can be in that same conversation.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's Oklahoma. It's consistent against some of the best offense or some really, really good offenses we've seen. And yeah, I think you have to put OU number one on that pedestal, which
especially after that Alabama game.
Yeah, without a doubt. Give it up to Brent Venables, man. His tenure at OU hasn't been perfect by any means, and there's still a lot of work to go overall in getting the program to a level where I think we can feel like we can win a national championship. But what he's done defensively, taking this team from absolute garbage to the best in the country in a couple years, it's nothing short of fantastic. And we said it last week, but him calling it, I feel like we've allowed Brent Venables to be the best version of Brent by letting him focus kind of all on the defense and finding ways to shore up on other parts of the of the field. But yeah,
I will say this, Bobby. I think one kind of criticism you can have of this defense this game is there was way too many. I don't know if it's BS or if it was just poor management and the penalties. Obviously, the PJ Adebaware on the sidelines, some of these just killers, these penalties whenever we thought we had Missouri all wrapped up in a bow. And a lot of people look at those kind of plays and be like, oh, that's a culture thing. That's a coaching thing that you got to get your guys in the right spot. And we can talk a lot about what Brent Venables is. And like we've been talking about it for many years now of like this guy, he establishes a culture and people buy into that culture. That has always been his best characteristic of a coach. And these guys out there respect every little bit of him, especially whenever it's going good. Whenever it was going poorly, I know some personalities soured on his long-windedness and some of his little words of action in the locker room. But when it's going well, people follow him. I'm not worried at all that these kind of hiccups that we had in this game is going to be any kind of worry for the rest of the season. So I look at those in this game. It makes me mad in the moment, but it's not like a Buki situation from past, Bobby, where it's like Buki's going to go out and he's going to get another unsportsmanlike conduct next game. And I know it will happen.
Right. It's not something you can set your watch to. And it's unfortunate. I didn't fully see what happened. Honestly, I haven't gone back and looked, but yeah, I don't know. You just can't let him off the hook like that. For sure, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think other things about this defense that we kind of got to talk about. Eli Bowen continues to be in the right place, just like not just in the interception. I mean, good for him getting another interception, but this guy is like exactly. I was scared with this high ankle injury in the offseason. Like this was like a high grade high ankle, not your typical like lower grade 1 to 3 week return to play high ankle. He took a long time, a couple months to come back from this. I was scared that was going to bleed into his production this season. We weren't going to see that Eli that we saw as a freshman and all of the hype that we gave him. He's right back there again, straight up. Him at that one of the outside cornerbacks, I have no worries, absolutely no worries about him. And I think you need that kind of guy going into the postseason. You needed that so bad for this defense. If we want to win games by our defense, that was the one position that we felt weak, and I don't feel like it's weak anymore.
Mm-mm. Absolutely not. You know, between him and Guillory and, you know, everything like that's, you know, definitely not a weak point without a doubt. Eli Bowen has been unreal. And Peyton too. Both Bowen brothers have been really, really good.
Yeah, we knew Peyton was going to do that thing too. And so we
yeah.
knew he was going to get there. He's continuing to get better and better. And like, he's got like the skill set, he's got the intelligence to do it. And Eli just put himself right back into position to succeed. And here he is. And like, it's at the point where a lot of the times with these defensive guys, you see a bunch of rotation, you see a bunch of different players. Eli's playing almost every single snap, and Cortland's playing almost every single snap. Out of the 77 snaps, they played 57 and 58 respectively. Like, we are not rotating guys in like we've done in the past.
Yeah, that's a heavy load right there. That is, yeah, damn.
And that shows the respect because, you know, Brent's the type of guy, he's like, I want people out there. I want people fresh. I want to keep on making rotations. And I understand the cornerbacks and the safeties really aren't his game. Like, he's more of like a front seven kind of guy, a linebacker kind of guy. But I think that if Brent wanted to, he could rotate guys through, but he's seen what we've seen from our CB1 and CB2. And it's like, there's no need. They're continuing to go out there and making great plays. Why would you need to rotate them out?
Exactly. And not only that, but, you know, why would you rotate them out? You know, you don't know who's back there, but, you know, they're guys you have to have out there. You know, that is how good they're playing. You can't get away with having them sit a couple snaps. It just, you know,
and I think the backups, like Devon Jordan's been like decent in some spots this year, but I think if Gentry was out there, you'd see a little bit of a difference because I think Gentry had a really good start to the season, and obviously his shoulders are like glass. We knew it was only a matter of time before he was going to go out. But I mean, it's a strength. Like if we went back, Bobby, to our little tier rankings things, we put every position group out there. Cornerback room, I think it's like a B+, and that's really, really stellar for what I was worried this room could have been.
Yeah, no, for sure. And, you know, at the start of the year, I don't think we were optimistic about Guillory, and, you know, Bowen's injury was a big question mark, but overall, I don't think we could have seen just how good Guillory would be and just how good Bowen would be after the injury. It's been really remarkable. Without a doubt. I agree.
Yeah, I'm really proud of this defense. And like Kendall Daniels has been awesome too. Like he's all over the place. And I think him as a defensive back and coverage, I think played really well this game as well. And I think that was a thing that him and his ability to finish the tackling, so his coverage and tackling was one thing that we were going to worry about. You know, the tackling's still a couple of moments here and there, but I think his coverage has been really damn good to the point where it's like we don't even miss Kendall Dolby anymore, right? Like it's like we don't even think about that. That was a huge conversation in the offseason. And we watched this whole game, and I'm like, oh, Kendall Daniels got it. Like that's what it is right now. November 23rd, it's a completely different mantra.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about how Kendall Daniels would be like kind of the perfect cheetah just with his blend of size, speed, ability to cover. And he really has lived up to the billing, I think, without a doubt. And I will say I'm gonna miss him. I think it's kind of sad we only got 1 year with him, but that's just kind of the thing with the portal. When you hit on a guy, you know it's just for a little bit, and you go with it. But I also gotta say the pest control eye black, sick as hell. That was cool as hell.
Yeah, I really like that too. Yeah, I think that it comes down to with this game, the defense, everyone did so well, and we could analyze it to a crisp. But the fact of the matter is there's really not much to say whenever teams do this so well. We do our Thunder podcast, Bobby. I think it's turning into a thing where we don't talk about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander a lot on our podcast because it's just that's what he does, in and out. And this defense is turning into a thing where it's boring to talk about them because you know what we get out of them. It's special, and they win us football games.
Yeah, absolutely. They're good as hell. They're really, really good. Like you said, a little boring, but I mean, it gets the damn job done. That's what matters.
Now let's get the Sooner fans boil and blood. Talk about some Oklahoma offense.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Not the world's best offensive showing for sure. They looked floundering at the start, to say the least. Up until the Isaiah Statania, 84-yard touchdown, it was a poor showing across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Just not great. Obviously, you got Xavier Robinson banged up with the knee sprain. Still went out there and played. Loved the toughness. Was not fantastic in this one. Not exactly a game breaker. And then offensively, just through the air, just not great. Not a lot of accuracy from Mateer. Just not some phenomenal play, but they got the job done.
Yeah, they just did a little bit. They did a little bit, and that's all they needed to. They are overall on a spectrum. They are a little bit more on the positive side than the negative side, and that's all they needed to be. And so Oklahoma fans, they aren't happy unless the offense is on the spectrum of like a 1 out of 10, probably like an 8 or plus. Now, we've been hitting a lot of 5s and 6s recently, Bobby, but 5s and 6s are winning us football games, so we'll take it.
Yeah, if you get to an 8, you're the best team in the country with how good that defense is. And I can understand it. OU fans have watched their team play a certain way for, essentially 20 some odd years of, that high level offense, but that's just not who they are right now. It's what obviously what we want to be. We all want the offense to be better. It needs to be better if we want to win a national championship. But overall, it got the job done. And I think you got to give credit to them for being tough as nails and finding a way to get things done, making plays happen. Because again, this is a tough. Missouri's defense is really tough.
They're really good.
That's a damn good defense.
We need to put more respect on Missouri's defense, which I don't think a lot of people have been.
No. And Mizzou, like, I know we obviously talk about, talk crap on them just because it's fun, but Drinkowitz has built a really good program there. That is a program that has a lot of really good players, has built a really solid defense, and they aren't scrubs by any means. This isn't like Auburn or someone like that, Kentucky. That's a really solid SEC team. Now they're not going to win. They're not at the level of like winning the conference, challenging for anything like that. That's not where they are right now, especially not this year. But what they are is tough. That is a tough team to beat. That is a good team. So,
yeah, I completely agree. And I think going back to our offense, Bobby, people are going to look at that and have that sour taste in their mouth. And especially from that first quarter, like me watching amongst a lot of people in my family on like my wife's family side, I thought I was going to teach some little kids some new words. I was getting nervous. But it just took one play, and that Satania play, like we call the same play the play before, and it didn't work because Mateer's accuracy sometimes isn't quite there. Like, screw it. We're going to do it again. You get the ball into your best offensive player's hands, and then he goes off and he outruns every single person on that field. And from that play on, no one for the rest of the game remembered what happened in that first quarter. No one remembers the negative yardage. No one remembers any of that, just because that's all you need is the one big play. You need a turnover on the defense. You need a couple turnovers on the defense for short fields. It feels so damn good to know that this offense has to do so little to beat a team like Missouri. And also coming into next week with LSU, it's not like they need to shore up all of these mistakes that they had in this game to win the game versus LSU as well.
Right. Yeah. And we can get into that LSU team here in a little bit, but the offense doesn't need to go and be incredible. It just needs to get the job done, and it did. It needs to not turn the ball over, which it did.
So I don't know how John Mateer keeps doing it. I sent this in our group text. He has one of the most miraculous skills I've ever seen. He throws horrible balls, but the defenders can never catch it. I swear, if I could go through all of the film and figure out, or if there's some advanced statistics site that could figure out how many dropped interceptions each quarterback has in the country, Mateer's got to be at the top. There's no doubt in my mind. Every single game he has a couple.
He does get bailed out without a doubt, but I'll take it. I'll take it, man. I mean, the Sooners have been on an incredible run, though. I believe they're plus they're eight turnovers and none in the past 3 games. So
how? I don't know how that's happened, because Alabama had 2 drops too.
Right, exactly. They've gone from one of the worst turnover differential teams to one of the better ones. Just in terms of, if you look at the last 3 weeks compared to the start of the season, it's definitely shifted. And I think you've seen a lot of, one of the reasons why Oklahoma has looked so good the past 3 games has been because of that, because they take care of the football. Any standouts on the offense?
I think when you talk about the running game, it's honestly a shame that we're at the point where we aren't giving the running backs the ball again. And I think what we can break it down to, it's not that Arbuckle needs to open up his playbook more. I think Arbuckle is looking at the running back stable right now, and he doesn't believe in anybody beyond X. And X is probably at a 70% right now. And he thinks that I would rather pass the ball more and run Mateer more, because the math just means I have a better probability of succeeding if I give the ball to those players rather than a 70% X or a guy in Blaylock that maybe not as good as we thought he was, and obviously still has a lot of room to grow as a young freshman back. That's the way I'm taking it, and I think that I look at that as a fan as frustrating. But with the scenario that was given to him and the running backs that have either flopped, have been hurt, or maybe have fizzled out, good for him for doing that. Because if we just started to run the ball into the ground over and over and it wasn't working, then we'd also criticize Arbuckle as well. So he knows this offense and what they can do better than any fan in the stands right now. And his decision to run Mateer 18 times or whatever, and to pass the ball with a quarterback that maybe hasn't looked as stellar, I'm going to trust him on that, because I think that's what he thinks is the best percentage to succeed.
Yeah. And I think, too, just as a matter of preserving your guys, handling the wear and tear, I don't think Xavier Robinson could have taken 20 carries. He took 12.
No, he's not. And he's not cut. Whenever he gets the ball, he's running a front straight line. He's going to break a couple tackles, because that's who Xavier Robinson is, but he's not cutting much. He's not moving.
He's just not quite the same guy. And, you just got to get by LSU and have them rest up for the playoff, hopefully. If you win, obviously beat LSU.
Yeah, so that would be December 20th is playoff weekend.
Yeah.
So that would be 5 weeks out for a knee sprain. He should be fine.
Yeah, no, for sure. If you can manage him, get him through this week. Yeah, you can get a healthy Xavier Robinson, hopefully, for that first round game. So I'm with you on that. I think the state of the room, we can talk about it later, after the season, that sort of stuff. But it just kind of is what it is right now. Because, what are you going to do? Blaylock looks banged up.
He does. And I don't know if it's like his shoulder. I just don't think that there's just a good option right now. And I think Mateer, if you want to look at his running, and you can people have been always talking about his knee, which was from the beginning of the season. And if it was a knee sprain that he hurt at the beginning of the season and it's still hobbling him at this point, that doesn't make really any sense. If there's a knee injury that's been going around for 2-ish months, that's probably something pretty significant. So he looks really damn good right now. I'm not worried about his lower leg health at all. And he had a couple of plays with those stutter steps where it looked like the Mateer from the early part of the season.
Yeah, no, I mean he looks like more like himself as a runner for sure. That 1/3 down and like 10 where you're like, oh my, like why are we running it on 3rd and 10? Oh, we got it. Thank God.
Yeah.
Was a great run. You know, Mateer does feel like he's got his mojo back a little bit on the run through the running game.
And I think that mojo word is a big deal, Bobby, because I think a lot of that is how Mateer gets these first downs on it. It's because he's just got that like edge to him. Baker Mayfield was never a great runner, but he had mojo, and that's how he would be viewed as this dual threat quarterback. He's not a dual threat quarterback. Mateer is different than that, but runners at quarterback, if they believe in themselves to go get that, that's when you get that extra little shimmy, that extra little juke, and that's how you make a move and you get an extra 5 yards.
Well, I mean, his run against Alabama was just pure that. You know, his touchdown run against them, where he's like doing a little spin move, hurdling over a guy, like just pure grit. So, yeah, I mean, the mojo matters, but I will say overall, Mateer, you want to see a little bit more accuracy out of him. I think he's still a work in progress. Apparently, it's one of those things you can never take like any sort of fan, you know, when things are tough at, you know, in the moment. You can't really take that as a true. You have to take all of that with a grain of salt. But you know, I had a buddy text me like, "Yeah, I'm getting so heated right now because some of you fans behind me are calling to bench Mateer for Hawkins, and you know, everyone's like kind of shutting down on the guy."
Now. Come on now, people.
Number one rule, and I violate this all the time. Never tweet during games about how you feel. Like those just should not have a permanent place in the world because we all say things we don't mean in those moments. But
gosh, we've seen what Hawkins can do, guys. Different is not always
a real
better.
Conversation.
Different is not always better. Be careful what you wish for. Mateer is not the answer to all of our dreams at Oklahoma, but he's the best answer we've got right now.
Caleb Williams has permanently stunted the fan base in a way of like, you know, oh, maybe the guy behind us could do that. You know, we saw it happen one time.
Yeah, whenever you have a Heisman Trophy winner behind you, that's not always the case.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Oh,
Blake in the chat giving you some crap. I love that.
Well, I mean, look, that's what I'm saying. That might have been the thing that talking about the lesson during the OU Navy game last year. Yeah, that's exactly. That's why I'm saying that right now as someone who has lived and experienced these sort of things. You gotta shut your trap during them. But special teams, great again. I thought they were delightful. Tate Sandell had one real field goal. But Grayson Miller still pretty good. Kind of boomed a couple that you know he could have probably nailed, but you know, just good overall.
Yeah, I did get a couple in the 20, like, you know, landed inside the 20. You got to take his wins, but at the same time, like there are a couple that just went way out of hand and went into the end zone. So, you know, Grayson Miller, there's sometimes where I look at it and go, wow, that was awesome. Sometimes I look and I go, is that really the best we had? Is that really it? I mean, all in all, special teams, thumbs up, baby. Like we're proud of you guys because we haven't always been able to say that as Sooner fans.
Yeah, they've done a great job this year for sure.
This is a weird game, Bobby, because we sit here and majority of times we do these post-game pods. We feel like we can talk about this for an hour plus, and then we like cut it off just because we want to talk about the next game. This game, it's just there's not much to talk about. It's a lot of the same what we've seen. And like I said, a defense that we already know is great, and it's not fun to talk about an already great defense because what else are you going to say? They're amazing and say that for 20 minutes. Like, good for OU. I'm glad we won again. I'm glad we don't have this conversation that we have to say they put themselves in a position to succeed, and then we choked it versus a team like Missouri. That could have been really damn bad. And now it's going to be a really, really fun game in LSU. Like, that is like the home game versus LSU, the energy in that stadium. I know we're not going against an opponent like maybe last year's Tennessee or this year's Michigan, kind of like, you know, that kind of feeling where like there's a lot leading up to that game. I don't care about the level of opponent you're going to see on the field at LSU. I'm hoping that stadium is rocking and pumped because that is a win and you're in. And that's how we should view it. We should not view it as we're playing against an LSU team that we're going to be like, what? Like, is it we're a touchdown favorite? I'm guessing. I haven't checked the
10.5.
Oh my God.
The FanDuel odds were 10.5. Was the
the Western Kentucky thing really sticking in the head.
They looked awful against Western Kentucky. But that being said, you got to flush all that out. This is a team that is this is a team that, they have some guys on them still. There's still talent on that LSU roster, and you cannot overlook them without a doubt. And look, any OU fan who's been around for a while knows that LSU has kind of been a boogeyman team. They've some really, really good LSU teams, and I guess one kind of mediocre one last year, have really messed OU up. And I feel like LSU in all sports has kind of messed OU up. So you can't take them lightly. You gotta go in and punch them in the mouth. And I think OU will. I feel like this is a team that's laser focused and it's tough as nails. And like I said, you win one and you get one more. One more for one more. So you got to go all out. You got to figure it out. And in Norman, I like the vibe. You got 2:30. Would have liked a night game, but I think Sooner Nation will bring it. I think the crowd will bring it.
I still think 2:30 games are wonderful. I still think that it's a wonderful time slot, and I think that's going to give just enough of rest, enough juice before the game, and a very fun environment after the game if things go well. So I am all for it.
Well, yeah, and getting that done, essentially wrapping up a playoff spot. I mean, no, like if you win, you wrap it up. But then probably wrapping up or hopefully wrapping up or feeling like you have a really good chance at hosting, like that would be incredible. So we'll see how it goes. I'm interested. It's going to be an interesting game. You got Bauer Sharp returning. So
that's not what I was thinking, but I'm glad you brought that up.
Oh God. Yeah. Bauer, the return of Bauer Sharp. So there you go. That'll be interesting. I think it'll be a fun game though. The weather should be a bit, from what I understand, should be like a cold, rainy slop fest, which benefits the defense, but probably doesn't benefit the spectators. I don't care, man. I'm excited. This is gonna be a fun one.
Seriously, I'm pulling up the weather report right now. Oh my God, you're not lying.
No.
Tickets are going to be cheap, so y'all better get there.
Yeah, I could see them plummeting, but like day of the Ole Miss one's plummeted, which is annoying. But I think it'll be a great game, great environment. I will say about the environment at the Missouri game. So, what did you think about the fourth quarter song? You're breaking out "Many Men" by 50 Cent.
I think it got people riled up. I think really what it comes down to is people have been looking for a fourth quarter song to get behind, and we haven't really found it yet. And you could see the joy in the players whenever that came on. That's all I need to see. I think the fans will buy into anything that the players will enjoy, and so I'm all in. Yeah,
I think it was incredible. The video before it too, like that they put on, with just all the the haters down, all the clips from random podcasts. It was damn good, and
it's gonna be a lot for that team to keep on making videos.
Well, yeah, I mean, you need more people, you need more haters. You can't just keep using the old one, but I will say I kind of feel like it works perfect for this team, this version of a team. Like once everything's said and done, when you write the book on the 2025 Sooners, if you gave them a nickname, you'd call them the hard to kill Sooners, without a doubt. They've become that mantra. They've become that gritty, tough vibe. Like they live by that, and you can see in how they play. You can see in how they embraced the mini men thing. Apparently, they play it in the in the locker room a bunch. And if you can do something to hype up the team, whether it's the fans providing that hype or the song and all of that, let it work. It like that works. As a song, it probably doesn't work the best because you have.
Who cares? Who cares about the song?
It doesn't matter. It works significantly better than everything else we've done so far. So I'm cool with it for the time being. But
I want friends in low places back.
Friends in low. He's an OSU guy, Jameson. He can't do friends in low places. I do love that song, but can't. But Garth Barth is, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, we've tried a lot. Good for them, but
yeah,
it's just nothing's really set. So
yeah, they're doing their best. They're doing their best. But all right, what else we got? Missouri didn't bring their band, which makes no sense.
I know that
6 hours away.
That is a real way to piss Bobby off.
It's an ultimate sign of disrespect if you're a big team. If you don't bring your band, it's just pathetic. But the fact that like I can understand it somewhat, like Michigan pisses me off, but you're far away. Like you're a long way away from home. That's a tough trip to make. I kind of get that. Like you can at least explain to me why Michigan didn't bring their band. Missouri's 6 hours away. And not only that, you can't give me the ticket allotment excuse because Missouri didn't even pack out their own ticket allotment. Like the Missouri did not roll out to this game, despite being a pretty damn good team and not very far from Columbia, which is baffling because I feel like they're not very close to any other SEC teams. It's just it confirms so much you feel about this Missouri program that they are not on the same tier as others in the SEC. And it just the fan base just didn't. I don't know. The fan base and the administration, or whatever that was it was giving me Big 12 vibes, to say the least. So
yes, offense to the Missouri fan base. That's just embarrassing, and it was almost expected.
Yeah, it's not good, especially after how much crap they talk about how Missouri we're the new thing in college football. OU's the past. You're all history. Blah 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 blah. No, yeah, like y'all.
You can say anything you want on the internet, but you got to show it.
Yeah. That's literally the name of their state. They're the show me state. They ain't showing me anything.
Mm-mm.
They didn't show up. It's a joke.
Honestly, like seriously, I'm not going to sit here and get riled up about it because I just knew that was going to happen. it's just Missouri, man. They don't make me lose too much sleep.
Yeah, they didn't hype me up to play them. It just felt like an old Big 12 game. It's fine, so whatever, man. All right, I think that's pretty much all we have for this week. Anything else we want to say about LSU before we move on?
I think like a couple of things moving into this game just to talk about their players. Obviously, it's a complete shift. This team is looking forward rather than backwards. And I mean, good for LSU right now. I think that moving on from Nussmeier might not be in the short term the best move, but I think in the long term, good for them to see what they have from Michael Van Buren. He's shown some good things. He showed some more mid things. I think for the majority of it, he's just shown some mid things, which for LSU, that might be a breath of fresh air whenever you saw a lot of bad from Nussmeier. So good for them for going out. And I think a big thing that I'm really impressed with, and I'm curious to see how he'll play versus us, is their freshman running back, Harlan Berry. Like they've started to put a lot of stock into him rather than obviously Caden Durham, who's been in and out and obviously hurt this year. And I think Harlan Berry was like a guy that they were very excited to get, obviously coming from Louisiana, true freshman. That's a guy that you really want to succeed whenever you're an LSU team that's kind of in turmoil for this season that they've gotten behind and they're really excited about. So I think that if you're looking at one offensive player who's going to be like, hey, that guy could break us. I understand what we do versus running backs at Oklahoma, but I think Harlan Berry's got some jiggle in his game, and I think he's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, and I know there's some weapons. I think Van Buren, has a little sauce to him. Why not? And like you said, Berry is showing up in a position that LSU has struggled in all season long. They have not run the ball well at all. So getting a little bit from them is nice. That being said, they struggled to score on Western Kentucky at home on senior night. I feel like this OU defense has a really, really strong advantage against the LSU offense.
Oh yeah. It's like with Missouri, leaning up to it, I feel like it was almost similar. It was like a quarterback that can do a little bit, but I'm not too concerned about. But then it was like their running back could really break open this game. They don't have a single player on there that I feel like can break open this game other than a couple of their wide receivers. They obviously got some great skill set guys that really haven't shown out maybe statistically this season, but I think have the tools to succeed. But I don't know if they're going to be able to get the balls to them in high enough volume to make big enough of a impact on this game. like we said earlier in this podcast, this defense goes out there and doesn't allow a lot of opportunities for you to succeed and makes the margin for victory for the offense very, very wide. And I think it's going to be the same scenario out there. You're going to see a lot of bad from the Oklahoma offense, and you're going to get frustrated with it. But it's only going to take a couple of plays or a drive or so to really completely change the narrative of this game.
Yep. And I feel like LSU's defense with Blake Baker is a pretty solid, unit.
We're going to have trouble with them.
Yeah, it'll give OU's offense fits. They will not have an easy time. So you're going to have to take advantage of your opportunities when you get them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's like you're going to see a lot of guys out there that some of their last games playing college football. This is an LSU team that I would not anticipate the majority of their good players that could get drafted and should get drafted will be playing in the postseason. This might be a lot of their last games in college football, and you don't want that from guys like like the Weeks and oh my God, I'm completely blanking on what's the freaking linebacker that was really good. That should have went into the draft a year ago, but it came back.
Oh, Harold Perkins.
Harold Perkins. Perkins could leave too. Like the way that LSU looks right now, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he either transfers or stays. So you're going to look at this team a lot and say this might be their last time in the purple and gold. And there's going to be a lot of people with strong work ethic that are going to put out their best performance.
For sure. It's I don't want to call it a proper dead cat game, but it's certainly a situation where, you're 7-4, you're going to a bowl game, but you can try to end things on a high note, and winning in Norman would absolutely, that would absolutely change the vibe in Baton Rouge if you can get a massive win like that. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm excited for this game a lot. Obviously, this is my first home game of the year, so I'm pumped. And I'm just excited to see the environment. I'm hoping that the crowd's going to get crazy and really put a lot of urgency into this game because I don't think we've had games feel like this probably ever, I guess the only similar feelings would be games to get you a berth into the Big 12 championship. But there's never been a game like this before because obviously college football has changed to get us a playoff game. This win and you're in the playoffs at home during the regular season. All of these games that we've had have been in the postseason.
Yeah, it would have to be something like 2015 Bedlam, maybe,
Yeah.
But that still leaves some stuff up for questioning. Because at that point, they didn't have the championship game, so it would really only be 15 Bedlam.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
But even then, not at home.
But 2015 Bedlam still feels a little bit different, than this game as well.
It does. It feels like it should have that level of urgency that Texas Tech 08 and some of those just massive Nebraska in 2001, but even then, in 2000, but even then, it's different. It's just different, So I'm with you. Massive game, and I think too, there's an element of, if you win, you don't just get another game, you get another game in Norman, maybe that aspect. Yeah, the aspect of wrapping up the tailgate and being like, oh man, we might be back here in a couple weeks. Yeah, that's pretty. That is exciting to me.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, this is going to be a fun game. I'm excited to see you.
Yeah. Absolutely, I'm pumped too. What's your first thing back in Oklahoma? What are you going out and getting food wise?
Just
bar wise.
We've actually
Oklahoma in general, whatever.
So driving into Oklahoma, because we're going to be driving in Wednesday morning. Leave around 9:00. That gets in about noon. That's Brahms cheeseburger time, baby. We're getting Brahms as soon as we come in.
Oh my gosh. Incredible. I love it.
Yeah. We already planned it out too. So that was a softball question for me.
Oh yeah. I might get some Brahms on the way to the Thunder game tonight. So that's a good move. That feels like a good choice. But all right. Yeah. That's all we have for today's episode. We'll be back on Tuesday to talk about the final regular season slate of the college football season on the weekend spread. Very, very much looking forward to that. So should be fun. But for me and Jameson, this has been the Schooner Pod. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. We'll see you next time. Boomer Sooner, everybody.